13 seconds is all it took for Conor McGregor to keep his promise. The fights were over. We thought about going to sleep.
You didn't want to go to sleep.
I lied. You guys, here we are. Gracie breakdown for the least Gracie breakdownable fight of all time.
It's 11 p.m.
Saturday
night.
It's December 12th.
Happy birthday, Hoist.
The man who started it all. You guys, this was ridiculous. Conor called it. I don't think he called it in 13 seconds.
No, he didn't.
And who knows? What's crazy is that Conor's left hook, short left hook that landed, Jose threw a perfect punch prior to Conor's punch landing. The only problem was mid-Jose's punch, he got knocked out. But it was so well thrown and so well placed that after he was knocked out, just the momentum of the punch continued and hit Conor and affected him. I think it cut his nose.
Could you imagine?
That's how imperfectly placed and intently thrown that punch was. But it just goes to show that from the time the punch started to the time it landed, Jose got knocked out.
But imagine if they both got knocked out.
Dude!
I didn't even think that till right now.
I didn't think about it either.
That would have been amazing.
Based on the precision and the placement of both guys and the speed, unbelievable.
And if that happens, I believe the rule is that you wait.
Whoever stands up first.
Whoever wakes up first.
Yeah, it's crazy. You guys, but who knows? Maybe if Conor would have missed and Jose would have caught him and would have rocked him a little bit, taken him down and choked him, there would have been something to break down jiu-jitsu-wise in that fight, and you guys can believe that we would have been there 100%. But it didn't happen. Jose asked for the rematch. We would love to see it because it's one of those fights that you knew could have been like spectacular. 5-round war. Who knows which way it could have went, and we saw for this one where it went, where it ended up.
I will buy the rematch. That's for
what's
sure.
up. You guys, since there wasn't much to talk about on the Gracie breakdown front in that final fight of the evening, let's talk about this Chris Weidman, Luke Rockhold situation.
Another championship fight.
Holy moly. And complete shock to most people except for a very few who knew Luke and his training partners.
Yes.
And his inner circle.
And Luke talks about this. You know, he a little bit mocked Chris Weidman and how amazing how Luke trains with champions, and he does. And it makes sense that he treated Chris the way that he did, rolling with DC and who else? Cain Velasquez?
Yes. And
guys like that.
It makes sense that Luke be the first person to take Chris Weidman down twice in a single fight. But that's not what we want to talk about. What mattered to us and was so beautiful was the ground control, literally the control after taking him down from turtle to hooks, and then from there the transition to mount and some of the most vicious ground and pound from a jiu-jitsu black belt, perfectly placed, perfect control, and let's not get it twisted, against Chris Weidman, who
is also
wrestling accolades like you don't believe, and also a black belt.
Yes.
So to do what he did on the ground control-wise and dominate, we were blown away. And we'd like to show you some key components that we felt everyone can benefit from. And it's major, you guys. It's so major. Check it out. So he took him down turtle position. He put in a hook right here. Boom. The hook landed, and they fell towards was it this hook?
Towards the hook.
It was the left-handed choke. So I think it was this. You're right. Boom.
Towards the hook.
Boom. They landed right here. Luke landed. When you land with one hook and you can't get the second hook, you use what's called modified back mount here, where you cross your feet behind the person's hip. And sometimes they're going to keep this hidden. This gives you great control because without that, he can turn to his knees and get up. So Luke did this. He crossed, go to your knees and get up. Yep. It's tight. His hip is trapped and his over-under is trapped.
And when it comes to me putting my back on the ground, it's also a little more difficult because my bottom leg is so much more secure that I can't
turn your pelvis
and slip out.
Versus normal hooks, which allows a little more body slip out, which Chris ended up doing in a second. But for now, grab my hand with two hands right here. This was my most amazing part of the fight for me, was this little grip break that Luke did to threaten the choke, which caused Chris to give the mount up. Watch this. So he had good wrist control. This is the standard default wrist control defense in MMA, no-gi situation. 2-on-1, C-clamp, monkey grip. Hold tighter. At this point, most people try to push C-clamp, try to push down and pull their hand out. But look how solid his grip is. Look what Luke did. He opened, he hooked the hypothenar eminence. Look it up, it's legit. He hooked it. He did not try to pull Chris's hand off. Instead, look what he did. He pushed his own hand out.
You can't follow that.
He can't. It
Can't
breaks your
follow
thumb.
that.
Boom.
Yeah.
And then right away, he shot the neck right here. He ripped his hand. This hook came in eventually. He ripped his hand. He locked. Now, Chris felt a threat of his life. Now, in order to show the landing on the other side, we have to switch all the way around.
Of course, Chris didn't stay here. He started looking this way.
And he's feeling it, though. So now he pushed himself across the border here and spin around. Great spin right there. That was magnificent angle management. Look, so now he's squeezing right here, and the only option that Chris had was to put his back on the mat, freeze. And then right there, Luke brought this top leg, remount technique, Gracie Combatives, lesson number 4. Steps the leg over, tight, and then wanted to go to mount. But he crossed his feet and put so much hip pressure right here. Talk about that.
It was almost like his knees were floating. Like he was not wasting
Skydiving.
any body weight.
Skydiving. Yeah. We call skydiving in the beginner classes here. It's hip pressure. It makes the guy carry your weight. This is the most important thing to do to immobilize your opponent's hips is hip pressure when you land in the
And it
mount.
makes all the sense in the world. When you mount Chris Weidman,
You don't get excited right away.
No, you control. You just
Yes,
keep
boom.
body pressure and you establish your amazing position.
Now, when did Luke decide to go from skydiving into high mount attacks?
Well, I think Chris's legs he wasn't doing too much.
You weren't bridging at all.
Just kind of hanging out.
And blocking his face.
Luke did not wait too long.
Very fast. Block your face. Then, both hands high, and then he came up to the high mount. Boom, the normal kneeling mount position. And he felt that Chris wasn't trying to make escape attempts, so he didn't feel he needed to be in control mode. He said, well, now let's go in attack mode because Chris is just covering up here. So that's when he went, you guys.
1 minute and 8 seconds remaining.
Was the duration of time when Luke mounted was 1-8 in the third round. You guys,
We tried to count.
we counted, and to the best of our counting ability, we calculated 92 strikes landed in 1 minute and 8 seconds.
Not
60
landed. Some
You got
thrown
68 seconds,
in this
but they're in there.
direction.
They're
Yeah.
uncontested, you guys. This is like, bah, bah, bah. He just hands up. You guys, that's 1.35 strikes per second. Well, it's funny because you're not there.
No, it's of course.
Yes.
Oh, obviously, I'm not there. I don't
It
know.
was crazy. This
No,
was probably
it's funny because first of all, he didn't get knocked out.
well, that's crazy.
He survived the whole
He blocked
thing.
and he wrote it out.
Yes, that's why it's funny. But also the fact that the ref didn't stop it.
Right.
Herb Dean let it go, which is amazing.
And
I was really happy he let it go.
And Herb was so close to stopping it, but then he heard what?
Well, you heard the 10 seconds.
He heard the 10 seconds. And you guys, didn't you feel like it was the longest 10 seconds in MMA history? Did you feel that? Like, oh.
Correct. The funny part is I don't even really care who wins. I appreciate both the fighters. They're both
appreciate
amazing.
jiu-jitsu, yeah.
Yeah. But I wanted it to end. I was like, hurry up, end. Just because
I wasn't. I was thinking, don't do it, Herb. Let it go, bro.
No,
let
no.
him. Let him.
No, I wanted the 10 seconds to end.
Yeah. Your team 10
Yeah.
seconds. That's right. No. You wanted the round to end. Now what's crazy
I wanted the round to
is
end.
when Herb stepped in at the last, I don't know what the truth is, but when Herb stepped in and he went like that, it looked to me like it was kind of a little bit of a gesture of the fight's over, but the round was also over. It was like, you see what I'm saying though? It was a little bit of this.
No, he knew. He was waiting for the moment to
Put it
jump
this way,
in.
Luke said when Herb stepped in, it was so close to the bell ring, he thought that it might have been stopping the fight because it was so uncontested at that point. Either way, we know what the answer
Yes.
is. But in either case, what was so impressive was how he set up. Now, every time someone on the bottom tries to turn to their side and start to do an elbow escape, turn sideways for real.
Which took a couple seconds.
Boom,
but
boom.
he turned.
The problem is these punches make you want to put your hands up.
Yeah.
These punches down the center right here make you want to boom, boom, and you don't want to face this way
I mean,
anymore.
you need your hands.
Yes.
You need to have arms,
do
especially
something
if
down
you're gonna,
low, yeah.
if you're gonna stay on your side,
boom. He's
you
landing,
need
the
your
fight's over.
hands to help push the leg.
Right.
And many times in the middle of the fight, this foot was just like this.
He didn't even care.
But yeah, he didn't even care.
'Cause he knew.
And he didn't even feel that because all he was feeling was punches to the face.
If you can't see, you can't escape.
But I mean,
yeah.
you are like 20% out right here.
There are things you can do against a normal human being, not Luke Rockhold mounted, elbowing your face in, to escape with this foot trapped. If you lock it up, quarter guard, work to climb up the tree a little bit, and then put him in the guard. But in terms of the strikes that Luke was landing, what was so impressive was he was hitting and then rotate. Put your hands up high in the center. Look, he was doing these. Boom. I never saw
seen that.
someone land the elbows down the freaking valley so legit. And those are the ones that really cut Luke's face up really well. The punches were landing, but it's these elbows down the center. He would just drive, and they look so soft.
Well, and the combination of the two, because when you hit a little bit to the side,
Boom,
and I do
boom,
this,
boom, I'll put him
now
back higher,
it
yeah.
opens
Boom, boom,
the
boom,
middle.
boom, yes.
It's the perfect. It's just that's fighting. You attack high, then low. High, then low. That's all kinds of fighting.
It was
arm,
laser focused.
choke.
It felt like it wasn't just the normal ground and pound is a big guy on top, just coming from every angle, and we've seen a lot of that in the history of the UFC. But this felt like the most laser focused ground and pound I've seen in a long time.
Yeah,
Placed.
And obviously, I believe that part of the reason why it was so, he did so well on the mount, Luke, is because he didn't stop.
Yes.
Right? A lot of times when you're just so overwhelmed with attacks, whether it's punches and elbows and just the combination of both, it's difficult to begin your escape.
Right.
Because, part of control is just so much offense that they can't even begin to think about escaping. And that's kind of what I felt on the outside. I'm like, man, give me, because I was thinking that I'm Chris.
Right.
I'm putting myself in the bottom.
So you know what they want to know.
They want to know what
What
Chris,
could someone have done in that situation?
Yeah, well, I think about what Brian T. City Ortega would have done.
Fighting January 2nd on the Carlos Condit, Robbie Lawler card, first pay-per-view match, Brian Ortega versus versus Diego Brandao.
So what would Brian do? And he did this against his last
Thiago
opponent.
Tavares. He used his escape.
Yes. Brian would have brought it, because while you're blocking...
Bump and armpits, right? So he did.
Oh, no,
Backdoor. He did the backdoor escape, 100%.
That's what he did. My
Correct.
point is that you could also
But
do
show
it
that
without.
one first, and I'll show the counter. Then you show the
This
counter.
is what Brian did.
Boom,
Brian
boom, boom.
bumped, and then he brought his legs in.
And then you backdoor.
Boom.
Came out. And then footlock on the way out.
He didn't footlock him.
Hey, Brian got his foot. He wrapped it. He didn't catch it.
Wrapped it, didn't finish it.
But the point is, as soon as someone's this high in the mount and you're having trouble blocking, because it's hard to even let go to do anything. There are other moves that we teach if you can hug their body sooner and stay close. The problem is he never got to this point. And when someone's punching and they're elbowing down the center, you don't want to hug anything. But instead, as they're hitting, if you can get my hands to the mat with a bump, hold, both feet come in the armpits, stretch, push my stomach. Look, head slips out the back door, and then you have feet or simple get up. Now, my counter to that, which Luke knows and would have countered for sure, is when Hidon does the initial bump, hips up, so that I don't, because if my hips stay back, when he bumps, I fall on my hands.
Yeah, I can launch you.
It affects me. Do that again. Can't, because my hips are off his hips. And Luke was up here a lot of the time. He knew that. And he didn't get bumped forward. So here's what's crazy though. Look, if your hips are up, go back, this is so good. If your hips are up, that means they're not blocking their hips. So the exact reason why hips down gives Hidon an advantage for the backdoor escape is the reason why I lift him up. But when I lift him up, I'm not blocking his hips, so he can't bump me forward. But watch what his legs can do. They're an uncontested elevation of his hips. Go back. Try that again when my hips are down. Go.
Impossible.
My hip blocking his hips. Yeah. So we're here, it's not gonna work. But here you can bump and do that. But if as you do that back door, he sits up, your legs go around and they cross. And now he's gonna try to crush you, but you hold your own feet. And now you choose a side, stretch, heel hook right there. It's over. That's over. Then you lock, or he's gonna spin and go.
Now, if you were on top and I tried to go north.
Yes.
Right? And you sit up tall.
Yes.
You would block right here.
I would try to block here.
No, he would probably block 90% of the time. So it's not as easy as it seems. But
Right.
it is an option. It's something to think about.
Yeah, there's so much to think about.
Just in general, a couple bumps here or there, it's just something to give you a break. When you're being punched in the face, just thrust your hips. Now, Luke, like us, like many people who do jiu-jitsu, for so many years, you have a certain ability to ride out bumps at times.
You just kind of, you're
So I have
connected
no
but not
doubt
attached.
that Luke would, have better mount control than most. But it doesn't hurt to try and, keep that in mind for yourselves.
So here's the deal. It's the holiday season, and we're blown away by these fights. And we want to do something we've never done before. Instead of doing a Gracie breakdown or a Gracie giveaway for one selected lucky winner, we want to go all the way. Everyone wins today.
Everyone who's
Yes,
watching?
here's how this is going to work. GracieUniversity.com, our interactive online learning center, 120,000 members learning all over the world jiu-jitsu, learning direct.
Learning these techniques that we discussed today.
Everything we teach amazing is on Gracie University, you guys. Here's how it's going to work. Registration is free. Anyone who registers from now for the next 13 days will have access to the first 13 lessons for free of our Gracie Combatives Beginner Program. We've never done this before.
You're talking like they're going to have like 13 free private classes?
Yes, 13 full lessons. There are 30 minutes to an hour per lesson, breaking down the most important Gracie Combatives techniques of all time. The beginning, the first 13 lessons are free. They're unlocked. You just get in, register for free, and we're going to unlock them for you. But here's the catch. Gifts are only as valuable as they are appreciated and utilized. How good is a gift? As good as it is useful.
I have so many gift certificates and gift cards that I've never used.
And gifts that you never used. You look to get the gifts that you actually use. So
Correct.
here's our cat.
Bottle of wine.
Here's the only promise for you guys. Useless for him. Don't ever give him one of those. You guys, and for me as well. Here's our only requirement. 13 lessons for 13 days, full access for you guys. But you only get to keep the online lesson if you watch it within this 13-day period.
If you only watch 4, do you get to keep 4?
Yes, whatever you watch stays in your library. Whatever you don't watch disappears, evaporates after 13 days. Now here's the irony. 13 days is being given to you guys because of the 13-second spectacular victory by Conor McGregor. So you can thank Conor for this one. And 13 days from December 12th just happens to be December 25th. So Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Holidays. And you guys, take advantage of this. Because if you love Gracie Breakdowns, you have no idea what awaits you at GracieUniversity.com. And we don't want you to have any excuse not to delve in and really experience what that program has to offer. And if after 13 lessons, you're not like, this is the most amazing thing I've ever seen in my life, jiu-jitsu instructional wise. If you don't feel that after 13 private lessons with us in your home, then
you don't even have to put a gi on and be on a mat. You can just watch the lessons just to watch the lessons.
And what's crazy is by watching, you will be a better fighter / defender / jiu-jitsu / prepared individual just from watching.
Well, you'll just be a better fan of the sport of MMA.
Yeah, but the principles, they're going to leave there ready to engage.
Of course.
Don't go picking fights with that information, but just know it'll change your life just by watching it. And practicing it will take it to a level that one cannot imagine. Happy holidays, you guys. GracieUniversity.com. 13 lessons for 13 days starting right now. Log in. Watch the lessons, otherwise they will disappear. If you watch it, it stays with you forever. We've never done this before. Thank Conor when you see him. Much respect to all the fighters who put it on the line. Not only this UFC, but every single time. We learn so much. Hopefully you guys do as well. And we can't wait to see you guys in the next one. Much respect.
Our grandfather's vision was to share the gift of Gracie Jiu-Jitsu with people all over the world. Thanks to global internet accessibility and the development of a revolutionary interactive online learning system, his dream came true, and his legacy will live on forever. Gracie University. Let us teach you everything he taught us.